In response to the coronavirus situation, all the classes at Reformed University this semester will be taught by using video conferencing technology. They will be taught live by the instructors at the appointed time, and they will be attended live by students as well. Only no one actually will congregate in the same classroom. The classes will be taught via Google Meet, a technology that is already a part of our email suite. Anyone who uses @runiv.edu email has access to it already. Every classroom at Reformed University has been supplied a dedicated Chromebook. And each instructor is supposed to pick up their Chromebook before coming to teach their class. So let's say you were assigned room 101. That means you simply pick up the Chromebook 101. And when you come to your classroom, the setup cannot be easier. All you have to do is pop it open. There's nothing to sign into. You should see the screen just like this one. So how do you start teaching? Well, step one, about 10 minutes before the class begins, click on the Google Chrome browser icon and they will open the familiar Google Chrome browser. When you end up there, you see that you're already signed in as room 101. If that is the room that you're assigned and the computer that you use, you can verify by simply clicking on the R button in the corner, and you know that you're in the right place. In order to teach through video conference, you will have to open Populi. So step two, open Populi, and you can do that by clicking the plus button right there at the top of the browser and opening a new tab. You can do this by going directly to runiv.populiweb.com or simply going to runiv.edu and clicking on the academic portal button at the top of the page and just log into Populi the way you normally do. Once inside Populi, you're ready for step three, enter your live class. The way you do that is you go to My Courses, locate the class that you're about to teach, click on that class, and on the left side find the syllabus section. Inside the syllabus section is the live class link. And by the way, this is exactly the way your students will be joining the class as well. Click the live class link and you're ready to join. Please notice that Google Meet opened a new Chrome tab and it will stay independently open throughout your entire presentation. You're ready to join the class, but just before you do, please note that at the right corner is the right account. It should say your room number at runiv.edu. If for some reason it says something else, please use the switch account function located right next to that email address. You should join your class about 5 minutes prior to its beginning so you can greet students as they come in. If you're ready to do so, just click Join Now and you're inside your class live. So this is step 4. You begin to teach. And of course, there are a few preliminaries like the attendance, for example, and make sure the right students are in your class. So let me show you how to do that. Well, first things first. Let me show you the controls. You have some controls here at the bottom bar. The way you get there is simply move your mouse to the bottom and you will see a microphone button, which this will mute your microphone. You will see a video button, so if you want to turn off the video, you can certainly do that if you're not ready for students to see you, for example. And the middle button right here, like an old-fashioned telephone receiver, it will actually hang up and end this conference call for you. This video and audio will end. You can also look and see at the top right here is the list of students who are in class, and you should simply click on that icon and it reveals who is in class, and you could see that there's only one more person and they are muted. By the way, when your students come into class, the first thing you do is you ask them, please mute yourself and turn off your video, unless you really want to interact with them. But it would be very difficult for you to run a class with 30 or 40 students with their microphones and cameras open. Trust me, the system might crash. You will hear noise. Everything that goes on in their room you will hear. Dogs barking, children crying, anything you can imagine. So it is a common courtesy when people participate in a live conference feed simply to turn off their audio. And in this case, their video would be a good idea too. So that way you can call on different students, you can interact with them by simply clicking on them on their list and asking them to unmute themselves. Their controls are identical to yours. The microphone button and the video camera button are exactly the same, and they can control themselves that way. Now, if you can't get them to cooperate and figure out how to mute themselves, the least that you can do is actually mute them. And you can do that by selecting the student name and clicking this microphone button, which will allow you to mute them on your side. Now they will have to unmute themselves if they wish to speak on their side, and that means they have to navigate to that microphone button themselves. With a live class the way that it's running right now, the only way you can take assignments is by having students email them to you, and that's understandable. So just instruct your students to email you whatever homework and assignments that you have them do in this course. However, how do you take attendance? Let me show you how to do that. You take attendance in Populi. You can't take attendance inside of Google Meet, but you do have attendance record here. If you click on the person tab here who participates, you should see the list of all students will be lined up right here, and it should match the list of the students in your class. So what you can do is you can go back to Populi. You simply switch the tab. Remember, your Populi tab is open and your Google Meet tab is open, and unless you are sharing that tab, you don't need to share that tab with students. As the class begins, you switch the tab, you go to Populi tab, and you can click on attendance on the left side right here. When you do that, you see the calendar, you find the class on which on the session that you need to take attendance. You click on that session, and what you will see is the whole entire list of students, which now you can mark people absent and tardy and excused. Well, there's no tardy in an online class that meets live, but there is absent and present. And so you have a list of students in your Google Meet, and right here on the right sidebar, as long as they're logged in with their school email, and if they're not, you can ask them to log out and re-log in with their school email. You have their names because their names have actually been programmed by the school, and their names are going to be identical to the names that show up in your attendance sheet. So you can take attendance this way by simply scrolling through. If you have a few students, if you have a lot of students, it might get complicated. So what I would suggest you do is you go to the roster function and you go check all right here, select all the students in your class, and then click on export roster PDF and send this to yourself or save this to yourself. Basically, you could do this at home and you can print the entire roster and you have a paper record. So then when it's time for you to take attendance, you have your paper record and you quickly go to the list of 15, 20, however many names there are in a list, a lot quicker than switching between the tabs back and forth. And that's how you can take attendance. And if you do it on paper, don't forget to transfer it into Populi and click Save. And that registrar will be able to see the attendance right away. So that's how you take attendance while you're doing a live online class. It may take you a few minutes, just like it does in the real live class, and you can call on students to respond, or you can simply go to the list of names. It's really up to you how you want to use that time. It is possible that your video is not going to be on top of the screen. So one of the things that you want to do is you want to make sure that your students see you. Assuming that everyone has turned off their sound and turned off their videos, you should be visible to everyone. But just to make sure, there's a little feature that I want to show to you. When you point to the middle of your screen, you will see this little pin button. And if I unpin myself, somebody else is showing up. This is my student. Well, I guess that's me still. But what happens is, in order to pin myself, in order for me to show up as the primary video, and of course you want your students to see you because you're presenting material, you're doing a lecture, you want them to see your screen rather than their friends. You click this little window right here where your camera is showing up, and you put the little pin on it. So that pins you to the top of the page. You can instruct students to do the same exact thing. You can just ask them, look, click on the little participants icon right here. When you see the participants, find your teacher on a list, which would be room number such and such, and you click the little pin button, and that pushes you to the top of the list, and everybody can see you and hear you very well. There's a few more controls over here that I wanted to show to you. There's chat. Students can chat with you. You can send them messages. They can send you messages if something is not working on their side or things like that. You can record the session if you want to, and it will end up in your Google Drive folder. I don't recommend recording the whole entire 2 hours unless you have a really awesome lecture that you want to share, but it will take a while for Google to process that video. You can record. You simply click record, and it will ask you for consent. Then you will see a little red button will appear at the right corner of the screen right there. It will be the same for your students, and to end recording you simply go to the same exact menu, which is 3 little dots right here on the very right side, and you say stop recording, and it stops recording. Now, another feature of control that I want to show you is for students who may have hard time understanding, you can turn on captions, and captions are really great feature. Well, they're actually quite accurate. When you turn on these captions, they begin to recognize whatever you are teaching, and as you are instructing, this may be very useful to some of your students, because sometimes the connection is not so great, or sometimes maybe you're not clear, but this is another neat feature of Google Meet. Now you can turn them off just as easily. Right here is a Present Now button, which is really amazing. What happens if you want to share a PowerPoint, or you want to share YouTube with your class, but I suggest what we do is back up to step 3. Actually, the best practice is to prepare your materials that you want to share with class before you click that Join Now link and actually open the live feed and already start teaching a class. What you want to do is right before class, just a few minutes, open up a couple of tabs and you share your materials by opening a new tab and browsing to that material. So if you want to share a YouTube with your class, I'm going to show you how to do that next. So what I just did is I opened up a new Chrome tab at the top, and I queued up a video. And I did this before I joined. As you can see, I'm not inside the live conference yet. So I opened it up, I queued it up, it's ready to go. I actually made sure that it skipped the commercial that it was going to play. And so I'm going to show you how to share this inside the conference. I'm going to go ahead and join the conference right now, and as I join, here's who is in the conference. I could see I'm gonna pin myself to the top here and share with you that I want to show you a video, and I'm gonna click Present Now, and on the Present Now I'm going to choose a Chrome tab option. Now this is very important. If I do not choose a Chrome tab, I will not be able to share sound with my students. So in order to share sound, I have to choose this third option. So I'm going to say choose Chrome tab, and it's going to pull up the options for me. That's all the tabs that I have open. I'm going to choose this 6 hours Mozart for studying, and I'm going to click share. And look what just happened. I am sharing my screen with you, and this is what students will see. I am inside the YouTube, and I'm going to maximize this video, and I'm going to click play, and you should be able to hear the sound. So you get the idea. I'm back, and I'm going to stop sharing. It says right here on the bottom, I'm presenting, so I'm going to stop presenting. I'm going to click you are presenting, stop. And I'm no longer sharing that tab. It's no longer open. It's just back to me again. So that is how you share a YouTube. How about PowerPoint? What if I wanted to share a PowerPoint with you? Well, again, I would say this is your 3A step before you actually press this Join Now button and end up being in a live class. A few minutes before class, you open up a new tab. And when you open your tab, you will see your room number there, but you will also see right next to your R, those 9 dots. 9 dots is where all the apps are stored. You open that up and you click on Google Drive. Now, inside Google Drive is where you can place all sorts of documents for you to use and share with class. And so I'm going to add a PowerPoint presentation right now to the Google Drive of this Chromebook that I'm using. And I'm going to click plus new right here on the left side. A new option is going to appear, and I'm going to simply choose file upload, and I'm going to browse to that file. I brought my flash drive with me, so I'm just going to go to my flash drive, find that file of that PowerPoint presentation, and click upload. When the file uploads, it says right here on the right side, the PowerPoint PPTX file has been uploaded. You see that it also appears right now here, and in order to share it, all I have to do is open it, and I can choose to open it with Google Slides. Google Slides is built in as a part of this entire system that you're working in, the Google Suite. It will convert your PowerPoint into the Google Slides format and make it shareable very easy over the web. So here we are. It looks a lot like PowerPoint. If I want to present it to the class, I simply click. The PowerPoint will go into full screen, and it will give you annotation tools and presentation tools at the bottom, a lot like the real PowerPoint does. You can advance the slides by using your keys, forward and backward. There's a way to highlight things and to use a laser pointer as well. So it's very, very similar to using PowerPoint. All of your emails have that. Anytime you're using your pshir-runiv.edu email, you just go to your new Chrome tab and open up those 9 dots, and you can play with Google Slides, Google Sheets, which is a lot like Excel, Google Docs, which is a lot like Word. And so, by the way, Google Meet is there as well. If you want to practice at home and play around with that software, even by yourself or with a friend, you're welcome to do that. You won't have all the 100% functionalities that you would get through your academic email, maybe on the other side, but you can practice, and there's all sorts of Google tools here. You can use Jamboard, which is like a basically like a whiteboard. Play around with that, and all sorts of materials. You can share PDFs, you can share Excels. Like I said, really, you just open a new tab and find the proper app to share those materials that you prepared for class. And that is how you share pretty much anything you want. And when you pulled up those tabs, you're ready to go. That's when you click Join Now, and then simply switch between those tabs to share them with the whole class. Now, when you finish teaching the class, don't forget to simply close the session. All you have to do is go to the bottom bar and click on this old-fashioned telephone receiver button that hangs up the conference, and you're done. If you forgot to say something, you want to rejoin, students are still there, you can go click right back. But if not, you're finished. Don't forget to save all things, exit, and when you do that, simply close the Chromebook and return it back to the registrar office. Just remember that there's another teacher coming in right behind you to teach another class that is scheduled right after yours. The 4 steps that I gave you is open Google Chrome, then open Populi LMS in the new tab, then you enter your class environment and you click on the live class link in Populi, and you end up at the Google Meet window. There, when you're ready to begin class, you click join and you begin your class. So this live way of teaching through Google Meet is how we will present classes to students this semester.